If you have ever said, I wanted to write a kid's book, but I just don't have enough time, I need you to stop. I want to show you something. Most people picture the book as being more than 300 pages long, 2 years of work, stacks of empty cups of coffee, but that's just not true. A children's book could be under 200 words, 24 pages, and you can write the whole draft in a single sitting. In this video, I'm going to walk with you through the 7 reasons why a children's book is the fastest book you can write. And by the end, I think you're going to feel a little bit silly for waiting this long. Let's jump in. So, reason one's going to be the whole story fits on a sticky note. You don't need to have some crazy plan in terms of the story and the outline because a kid's book, the more detail you put in, sometimes it's just going to get more confusing. Most children's books are under 500 words, some are under 200 words. So, you do have to understand you don't have to go so crazy. A really cool strategy that you could do is you could really just leave yourself a voice note. You could drop it into AI and say, hey, I want to write a kid's book along these lines. And that could be something that could already give you your draft for you. So you don't technically have to write a single word. You could just talk it out. The second thing you want to understand is that you're supposed to have one character, one problem, and then you're done. So for me, there was a book that I was considering writing. My son is starting school next year, and I figured, hey, why don't I just start a book with a character, a dinosaur, which I'm going to show you in a bit, about having this one problem of just starting school, the first day of school. There doesn't have to be a big cast. There's no backstory, just one kid and one wish, and you can have the emotional roller coaster that this kid is going to go on, which we all have been on, and therefore you have your book. You don't have to make it so crazy in terms of what it is and all the details of the book. Next, you have to understand that the page count is already done for you. See, when you're writing another type of book, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, you have to figure out how many words you want. You need 60,000 words, 80,000 words, 120,000 words, depending on the type of book. But you have to understand when it comes to kid books, 24 to 32, that's your limit. That's where you're only allowed to be. And that's what we have to start to recognize. So we can't even be putting too much in because then all of a sudden it's not going to be one of these types of books and we're not going to be able to sell it as a kid's book. The next thing is we have to write a draft in a single sitting. So one coffee, 1 hour, one notebook. That is the whole first draft. Hire a babysitter, do what you have to do. But if you could just sit down for an hour and just talk it out and just write it out and try to figure out what you can do, that's going to be the thing that's going to get you. And what you can understand also is that you can actually have a conversation with AI and AI is going to be able to pull it out to you. So you can even say, hey, AI, do you mind being this person who is going to be able to pull out this story in me? I have a story. Do you mind asking me the questions that I need in order to be able to write this story and come up with the ideas that I want to be coming up with? Because then it's going to be a story and a book that you are going to be putting together and not some AI slot that somebody else can also do in a sitting. Okay. Understand you could skip the gatekeepers. Okay, this is one of the biggest things that most people get so confused with. You don't need an agent, you don't need some query letters. Amazon lets you do everything. You can publish your book today. Technically, if you had a manuscript and you had a cover, you could just put it on today, and all of a sudden, your book is going to get published. And this is one of the things that most people in the community that I teach get so scared of. They don't think that they have the ability. It's really more of a mindset issue of like, I can't be a publisher. Like, I didn't do that thing, right? There was a book that I wrote, and I spent thousands of dollars on hiring somebody and editors and people to upload the book for me and all this stuff. And you have to understand, like nowadays, that money's wasted because I didn't need to use that money because of the resources that we have right now. And that is something that you need to understand is that there's so much possibility right now that you have more control over, and you don't need to get permission from anybody. All you got to do is just put your book out there and get it out. And even for your family or friends, that's what I told myself when I was making my first coloring book. I'm just going to do it for my two boys. That's what I'm going to do. And if I could just write a book for them and they're going to love it, then guess what? Then that's going to be something that's going to be worth it to me. So understand that you don't need to go through the loops that you used to have to go through, and you have the ability to become that published author. Right? Next, the AI handles the art for you. And this is something that I want to show you with right now because you might say, well, all AI art looks the same. Well, guess what? I'm going to show you some pictures over here. You can literally create any type of art. So most people say, oh, well, AI art looks terrible, right? But guess what? It doesn't have to look terrible. You have the ability to really make it what you want, right? So you can give it the style, you can give it the look that you are interested in, and that's going to be the type of character you want. So if you're saying you want a specific type of character, hey, good, we're going to go with that style. right? You want it to be a dinosaur, you want it to be a person, you want it to be a made-up creature, right? There's so many possibilities you can do it, and you can all do this for free, by the way. On your ChatGPT free plan, you can create the art for yourself, so you don't have to go crazy. In my community, we actually have a 3-day challenge where we help create everybody's first character, because that's something that could, that's one of the big hiccups, and understanding that it can be done so easily. Yeah, you could pay hundreds of dollars like I have to artists before in terms of creating the pictures, but nowadays all the artists are going to do is they're probably just going to put in AI anyway. So if it makes you feel better, feel free to do it. But at the end, you don't have to do it. And we can talk about all the mindsets around AI, but I'm telling you, use it as a tool. People out there need your book, and you have the ability to do it for them, right? So understand that there's different styles where it can be helpful. This is part of my son's book that I was putting together about Rex going to school for the first day. So this is just him having fun, right? And one of his fears of what if I accidentally roar during quiet time, and then he ends up roaring in quiet time over here. So you see, like there's really is so much that you can do in terms of the actual books, and the ideas that you can have, and it just looks legit. The next thing you have to understand is that the kids just want simple. They don't want anything fancy. Simple is fast, and write and sell is better. So understanding that is something that we need to realize, because the more we put into it, the more we talk ourselves out of it. We make it more difficult. And if you're somebody who's actually interested in writing a book, let me tell you something. You're probably somebody who's not going to only be interested in writing one book. And what's interesting is that we have to try to figure out, okay, what's the process? How can I get to my third or fourth or fifth book? Because maybe your fifth book is going to be the best one that you're going to write. But if you don't ever take the steps for the first one, for the second one, then you're never going to do it. And that's what I show within my community, literally step by step, how to do it. And then once you have those tools, you can create the way that you want to create. And that is something that we need to understand, is that just keep it simple, get the process done, know the process from beginning to end. Even if the first book doesn't sell like crazy, understanding that getting in the game is going to be a thing that's going to be able to help us. Okay. And last but not least, if you are interested in building your first book in 3 days, literally, you can have a book within 3 days. And I'm telling you, it might sound crazy, but I literally did a coloring book like that. And coloring books are extremely difficult because trying to get the characters to look the exact same on every single page is extremely tough and frustrating and annoying. But at the end of the day, there are strategies and there are ways to do it. And I was able to figure it out. And I was able to do it. And it's something incredible. So if you were interested in getting your first book up in 3 days, and you're like, Bennett, I want to do this. I'm going to put the time on my side. I'm telling you, feel free to join the community. I'll put the link down below, and we'll see everybody on the next video.